Hi, today let's talk about changing your fonts in Squarespace. There's a few ways to do this. I'm going to walk you through each, and each one's really a different level. So I'm going to switch over to a browser window here, and you're going to see this template. It doesn't matter if it's a Squarespace native template or if you use their Blueprint AI to spin up a template, or if someone designed a website for you in the past, or if you designed your website from scratch. It's totally custom now. None of that really matters. The way you manage fonts is largely the same no matter what. So the way we want to come about this, and like I said, there's a few ways to do this. When your page first loads and you see your sort of main nav, admin nav over here on the left, over on the right, you have this paintbrush. And when I hover over it, it says Site Styles. I'm going to hit Site Styles, and you're going to see a few different options here. You have themes, and this is sort of the first way. Like if you're not sure what fonts you want to use, you just know what you have now maybe isn't working, and you want to see how different types of fonts may affect the layout. These themes, which also include color, are a way for you to just make a quick changearoo here and swap out the fonts and the colors. Now, this is an entire theme. The next way to do it would be to just choose fonts here, and there's two links here in this. This is a row. You've got the fonts, and then you've got this arrow. By clicking fonts, you get sort of recommended font packs. How they're recommended, I don't know. And you have different ones where it's mixing in slab and serif and sans serif and modern and condensed. There's different types of fonts in here. By clicking the arrow, you get to drill down to picking different fonts that you want for specific types of content on your website. More on that in a second. Or you can click on all font packs. And this is sort of an extension of the font packs we were looking at a minute ago. You can pick groupings of sans serif, which means there's no serifs that give that little flat spot at the top and the bottom of certain letters. You can see them here when I hit serif. And there's quite a few here. Now this is putting a serif face for both the headline and the paragraph. The same thing with this sans serif option. This is putting a sans serif face for both the heading and the paragraph. It's also going to assign miscellaneous, buttons, and the other styles, deeper styles on the website at the same time. This is a pack. It's holistic. It's going to cascade throughout the entire website. And then there's mixed, and the same goes for mixed. So you've got serif headings and sans serif paragraphs. You've got sans serif headings and serif paragraphs. These mix them all in. Some are fun, some are heavy, some are slab, some are modern, some are, classic faces. This is a great way if you're unsure of what you want to just quickly make a change. And one of the beauties here of Squarespace is that we can just hit one, and it changes everything on the entire web page, the entire website. And you can hit another one and do it again, and you can just continue to do that until you land on something that you feel like is fresh and new or closer to what you're trying to achieve as a brand. Here's one. It's got a good techie looking couple of typefaces here. That's pretty cool. So we'll stick with that for now. Now, going back up to the top here. There's a couple other areas. You can manage the font used in buttons specifically by clicking on this and picking a font sort of button pack. And it's got different styles of buttons. You see outlines, you see pill, you see curved corners, square corners. And then the actual buttons, by clicking the arrow, you can just affect individual buttons. As you can see, this is using an outline button, and you see that button up here at the top, but it fills in when you hover. This video isn't really about buttons. Next would be the forms. You can edit the fonts in the forms and then also in some of the miscellaneous styles which I'm not going to get into here. Now, what I do want to get into is sort of the next level of customization would be when you close. I'm going to close this and go back. Exit without saving. So now we'll go back to our original set. Hit the paintbrush. Go to this arrow next to fonts. And this is where we can really get granular. You have default sizes, and you can see everything starts with 16 pixels and it gets bigger and smaller. If you just want to make everything bigger or everything smaller across the whole site, that's a quick, easy way to do that. But I would be mindful of the size of your paragraph 3 and any legalese you have down at the bottom. Might get really small if you start jamming that way down under, say, 12 or 11. So if you just want to change your heading font, you can click on that right here. Like I said, headings, paragraphs, buttons, miscellaneous, which I'll get into, and assign styles, which is super granular, and we're going to get there. So if we just want to change the headings font and find something that's a little more techy, and you can see there are 3 fonts loading on this page in use right now. And I'm pretty sure this is site-wide. So if we wanted to go with Space Mono, if we wanted to go with the Rama Gothic M, these are hyper condensed. We can do that. You can scroll, but I'm warning you, you can see the size of this scroll bar. This is a long scroll. So if you know what font you want, right? Like tech, share tech. If you know what font you want, you can search for it. Highly recommend it. Or if you have a font locally that you have to use to be on brand, or your designer gave it to you, you can hit this arrow and upload that font here, just like you would upload an image, and that font will become available to you in this interface here. It's ridiculously easy. That's a brand new feature, by the way. So if we wanted to pick another font that is super condensed, we don't know which one we want, but we want it condensed. A lot of font names have sort of their main feature in the file name or in the font name. So you're able to run a quick search for condensed, or narrow would be another one, right? So keep that in mind, that even if you don't know what font you want, but you feel like maybe it's too wide or it's too narrow and you want something wide, you can just search wide and you get, now that's a crazy looking font. So I'm going to go back to condensed, and I really liked that Special Gothic 1. That was pretty cool in there. So that's headers. Another thing when you're in here, right, is a lot of fonts have different weights, and I will switch to a font that I know has multiple weights, like Helvetica. How's that? Everybody loves them some Helvetica. So I can pick between 400 and 700, and different fonts have a different number of weights. So if we go with Work Sans, and Work Sans has from 100, which is super thin, all the way up to 900, which is crazy heavy. I don't know if that has a practical application, but so if we go with something here in the middle, you can pick your weight. You can pick the style, normal or italic. You probably know what those are. You can pick your line height, which makes an adjustment between the lines of text on the page. And you can see as I adjust that line height is legitimate spacing on the page happening right now. You can pick your letter spacing. So that's kerning, classically referred to as kerning, where you can decide how far apart you want the letters to be from one another. As you can see with this L and the A, they're touching here. You may or may not want that effect. Uppercase, lowercase forcing. You can force capitalize. This would be like title casing. So, or force uppercasing. You can also control the sizing of the different headers. So this would be like if you know code H1, H2, H3, H4. But in general, you have different heading sizes. So like, see, if I adjust heading 2, you can see that the words, the location are a heading 2 tag, and they're being resized. So that's all the settings here for headlines. And paragraphs works the same way. You can pick any font you want, and you can basically, it's math in the library, or you can add a font. It all works the same way. You have the weights, you have the line height, the paragraphs come in 3 sizes, paragraph 1, 2, and 3. So this paragraph over here on the left is a paragraph 2. Yep. So that's sort of managing headers and paragraphs. From a button standpoint, you can decide which font you want in your buttons, and you have all of the same sort of spacing and sizing options here. And you may want different buttons for different applications. So you may want a different font in those, and that's just where you go for that. Miscellaneous, I'm not going to harp on this too much. Miscellaneous is things like block quotes or quotes and quote attribution, or it might be part of the blog. There's a few different ones in there, like advancing between blog posts to and from, previous and after, sort of a thing with the blog posts from a date standpoint. That miscellaneous controls those. Now, lastly, and this is a big one, assign styles. This allows you to get hyper specific and change some of the styles, really all of the styles on the website. I come in here most frequently to change the navigation. This is the best way to manage the navigation on the site. So if we want to change the navigation, you can see I've got 2 items here in login and cart. But if we had more pages, those would just be stacked up there. It's using space mono, and if I wanted to use the Rama Gothic, I could do that. And you have the same controls here that you have when you're managing the fonts in other areas of the site, like the headings and the paragraphs. But keep in mind that you can basically borrow from those other 2 settings. They're sort of like master settings that just cascade throughout the site when used. So if we wanted to say this was the heading font and we wanted it to be paragraph 1 sized, then we can do that. If we want it to be paragraph 2 sized, or heading 2 sized, paragraph 2 sized, paragraph 1 sized, that's a way to quickly get to a pairing or a sizing or a style that you've already established that you want to use again. Like, oh, I wish my navigation was the same size as my paragraphs. Then you can just do that quickly and not have to manage that independently. If we go back and change heading weights and paragraph 1 sizes, the navigation will change with it. So keep that in mind. If we wanted it to be completely custom, we can also do that. And you can use your miscellaneous style. You can use your paragraph style here and go with that cool looking techie typewritery font. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is how to change which font and which font style you're using on the page. So looking at the page here, I'm going to hit edit at the top left. And this text right here, right in front of me, I'm going to select this. If I select the box, I can hit the pencil and edit. You can also just double click in it and you get your WYSIWYG modal. But the paint bucket here is for styling the block itself. So if you wanted to add a background color or put corners on it, an outline, do anything stylistically to the block, that's how you would do this. This next one allows you to change the alignment within the block if you want to align top, middle, or bottom. And then pin would be you want it to stick here on scroll as you go through. See how that just made it stick? Now you can control if it sticks to the top of the section, the middle of the section, or the bottom of the section. So all that to say, you're going to see these. You can also control move forward and move backwards, or the Z index, or you can duplicate or delete it. Now, editing the font itself, you can select all, and I just double clicked on it. You can also hit Command A on your keyboard. This first block with the animating circles, this button is Squarespace AI. That's going to help you write copy. You can tell it to write you a blurb about the company, or write some tagline for me, or explain a process. And it does a pretty good job of that. Next, this is where we affect the styles. If you remember earlier, we had under the fonts and the styles over in the tray on the right, we had heading 1, heading 2, and our paragraphs. And monospace is sort of a plain type application, you won't use that a lot. But if we wanted this to be paragraph 1 size or paragraph 2 size, then this is where we control that. If we wanted this to be a header, then we would just make it a header right there, just like that. So it's pretty easy to manage. You can also make it bold if the font has bold included in it, italic, change its color. You can make it span the entire width of the section, which in this case isn't the best application, but it's because it's not legible. But you can put line breaks in there, and how you put line breaks in there will affect how that span works. So if I have that stretched out and I come in after the word width here, it's being finicky. So if I come in here and I put a line break here, or that's a full carriage return, I hit enter or return on my keyboard, then I hit span, and you can see they're both full width and justified within that block. So that might be a neat way to manage the size of that. Now, as you go down to mobile, that is going to stretch all the way across the screen on mobile and may not be the best look. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like, it's really small and hard to read, even if we were to span the entire width. That, especially if someone's outdoors, that's going to be pretty hard to read. So something to keep in mind. I'm going to undo that entirely and talk about outlines. I'm going to hit clear all styles. Now, I want to show you underlines, sort of text effects. So if you wanted to highlight some copy, like 3 days at the event horizon without beginning or end, with music, food, and irresistible technological progress. If we want to underline, there are lots of different styles of underline we could give that text. You can even add an animation. So that's something to think about if you want to make something a little bit more engaging. And there are all kinds of fun, squiggly, different types of lines. And you can also remove any of these by simply clicking remove. If we wanted to add a link, you click on this chain link icon right here, and you would just link it to the store or whatever page, any page you have there. And if you have a lot of pages, you could just start typing and they'll start coming up. Let me clear that. So store, and you can see merch, like this particular page. So that's a great way to build a link. It's really easy in there. You can change, obviously it's justification, left, right, center, fully justified. You can make it a block quote. You can add bullet points. You can add numeric bullet points, numbered bullet points. You can also strike the text out. I don't know if that's a good look all the time. So this WYSIWYG editor gives you all the options you're used to seeing for the most part. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to exit without saving here. And listen, if you've bumped into something when it comes to managing your fonts in Squarespace, just leave a comment below and I'll make a video about that. I'm happy to help. So if this video was helpful to you, please like it. Hit the little like button. That goes a long way to letting others know that this video was helpful, and maybe we can continue helping even more people in here. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.